Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. You can also find us on the Instagram. Is that X? Which one's X now? Twitter?
Twitter, yeah.
X, Blue Sky Hive. Go to the website. You'll find us, Hollywood Matrimony. Today we are talking about the new movie, The Bride.
Is it really? Can we really say this episode? And we haven't had an episode in so long. It's just like
It is this episode.
Is it an episode though, or is it just hey, we're here to show up in one shot?
Hey, maybe.
We don't know if we're going to be doing another one. Though.
We will. Look, I'm wearing this cool shirt that my husband got me. It's called Vader, but it's the Death Star.
I must admit, I didn't get it for her.
Oh, okay.
Somebody gave it to me and it doesn't fit.
It's
so
super
now
nice.
I pass it on.
And then you copied me because you wore Darth Vader. Also.
I just put my shirt on to go to class this morning. I didn't copy you.
You copied me.
Who normally wears Star Wars shirts?
You.
So then you copied me.
But I was dressed first. In a surprising turn of events. All right, so we're talking about this new movie by writer and director Maggie Gyllenhaal.
AKA Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal.
So the movie is essentially a remake, reimagining, if you will, of The Bride of Frankenstein, if you didn't already understand that. What's interesting about the movie is it plays up, it takes place in the 30s, and it plays up kind of like a sequel to Frankenstein, like the original Frankenstein, which is what Bride of Frankenstein obviously is. But this is way, 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 way later. But it's also not connected to that at all. So it's kind of its own universe.
Yeah.
If you're going into this expecting like a monster Frankenstein movie, that's not what this is.
We did
This
the monster mash.
This is a whole different animal, quite literally.
Yes.
I wrote in a review on our website,
HollywoodMatrimony.com,
that it's kind of a mashup of The Bride of Frankenstein, a detective noir, Bonnie and Clyde,
very much that too.
And there's even a little bit of homage to Young Frankenstein, which may be like, what? It works.
I feel like too, it's in the backdrop of the classics, the classic black and white film days, and
like
the
old
Hollywood and the glitz and glam and musicals and big extravagant numbers where the sets were ginormous. It's even in that kind of backdrop as well.
Whereas the original Bride of Frankenstein, the bride is still not the focus of the movie. Like, she shows up
with her hair
for a very small amount of time. This one is kind of flipping the script of, what would, from her perspective of coming back to life and doing these things and what would happen and that kind of thing. So the personas of the bride and Frankenstein, or Frank in this movie, have more personality instead of just mindless monsters, which is an interesting take. This is also kind of a tragedy love story.
It is a tragedy.
There's a lot of layers to this movie. Before we dive into everything, it's a movie that I personally loved, but it's also a movie that I completely understand if you didn't get it or don't like it.
But you should,
because it is a very acquired taste type film.
Yeah, I mean, and two, one of the things that I know you were reading about and that was very clear throughout the movie, it's kind of a female empowerment movie.
It is
about the bride, but also every character that is dealing with them, there is a woman in a position that, like
of
power-ish, but not really.
Because you have Annette Bening, who's like, essentially she's the Dr. Frankenstein of the movie. She's not Dr. Frankenstein. She's a whole different character.
She's a doctor, but she has to still publish her works under not her full name,
like an initial, so people don't know if she's made. Then you have a detective, Penelope Cruz,
and they don't take her serious. They're like, "Where's the detective?" So she has to pretend to be the assistant to the detective, which is annoying.
And then of course you have the bride.
The bride, and she's like, "Why do I have to like be your bride or his bride or this bride? Like, what is it?" It's pretty cool.
And I know there's some people that have already complained, and I can see other people, even from the description that we're telling you about the people that throw temper tantrums about the woke movement or whatever. Anybody that has a problem with a woman empowerment in a film, you have your own bigger issues to deal with, because there should be films for empowerment for everybody. But I think the reason this one, to me, even though she even utters the words "me too," but in a way that's, it's got that double meaning. It fits the dialogue of what's happening. It's not the Me Too movement, but it's also shouting out to that idea, because but the time period placement doesn't make anything feel like they're forcing that idea, because that's how people treated women in that time period.
Yeah.
So it feels like if you totally weren't dealing with this stuff in society today, where it's very in the front and people are complaining about, hey, we have to be nice and treat women with respect. I know it's tragedy, but if you just watch from a standpoint of this takes place in the 30s, nobody would care that this is like this because this is how it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when people complain about people using the N-word, but they're doing prohibitions and they're doing slaveries and they're doing all this stuff. Yeah, it's horrible, but that's what happens.
In the movie, yeah. It's that version. But I like too that the movie, it's not all, it is that, and there's still some elements of, I don't know, like otherworldly, supernatural, because you have to put to one side our thing that you could bring someone back made out of different body parts and have a Frankenstein or a Bride of Frankenstein or whatever. Like you have to set aside your disbelief and just roll with it. Because as far as I know, I don't think anyone's brought anyone back to life. If you have, don't say anything because you might get in trouble. But
if you already buy into the film of Frankenstein,
yes,
then you have to buy into the other parts.
Yeah, because there's like, some stuff. So, and I'm wondering if people are going to complain about, oh, it's too woo woo, or it's like.
I don't know. The couple people that I know, a couple people that I saw post online that didn't like it because they were more complaining about. I was expecting a Frankenstein movie, and that's not what this is.
No, it's clearly said.
No, but I don't think they meant like they expected Frankenstein to be the star. But they were expecting like the Bride of Frankenstein, which is essentially a Frankenstein movie that happens to deal with bringing this lady back to life.
But this is really about her.
Yeah, because
that's her journey.
Because you get to see her before the death and then after the resurrection.
And she's just trying to understand, who am I? Where did I come from? What's my name? What did I do before? What do you mean? Like, she's just trying to understand. And I don't know that Frankenstein went through all that at the initial. Or did he?
Yeah, he did, because remember, he would walk down there, everybody was wanting to kill him, and everybody, he meets the kid.
But he's somewhat assimilated at this point.
He meets the blind old man that loves him and
takes
care of him, but ends up killing him by accident. Yeah, this one does. This is what, like 100 years from the original Frankenstein story.
And he's lonely.
Yeah, so that's kind of the idea. Is he
wants a companion.
Yeah, so he's wanting to bring somebody back, and
who doesn't?
But then it does become in, why does, just because you brought her back, why does she just suddenly
have to be
your property? So what I liked about it is they didn't just make her come back and goes, oh, I love you. They developed their story. They developed their relationship. It is a very love-hate relationship through most of the movie, because you're also seeing the mentality of Frankenstein, who's always been alone. He doesn't understand human emotions necessarily. He doesn't understand sex. He doesn't understand any of these things. And it's perfectly summed up by when there's a moment where he shakes the doctor's hand, and he's talking about, this is all a first, and like, me shaking your hand was like a first thing for me ever. And she said, how did it make you feel? And he was like, it was exhilarating. It was like something as simple as a handshake meant everything.
Yeah.
So you get the depth of what his loneliness and his sadness, but he's also, because he's been around for so long, he's starting to experience what life is, and he wants to have life, which is a life. It's kind of a metaphor of like he was brought to life but had no life.
Yeah.
And so, but once she gets brought back, it is a lot of chaos, and there's musical numbers, there's shootouts, there's murder mysteries, there's weird behaviors,
murder mysteries,
there's the mob, there's
always the mob. Before in the 30s,
I know there's
in New York.
so many layers to this movie that, again, I can understand if you came to me and like, I just hated that movie, it was too much. I'd be like, you're right. They'd be like, it's too weird. I mean, you're right. I loved it for everything it was.
I liked it. It was not at all what I thought. And we're sitting there. I don't know when I only watched one trailer.
You originally weren't going to go see it.
I was, and I was like, meh, who cares? Monster. But I know you're more into the classic old school monsters. But I'm like, let's go. Let's see what happens. And also because I had just watched the SAG Awards, and she had won for Hamnet.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, she's going to be good. And we know Christian Bale goes all in whatever he does. And I like Maggie Gyllenhaal, and I like her films, and I always like her take, because she always attacks things from a weird angle to tell us a good story. So I'm like, let's go see. I had no idea all these other people were in the movie. I knew them.
Yeah.
I had no idea his name going to show up. The other, what's his name? What's her name? The detective.
Jake's part was great because he's playing the classic old
Hollywood.
Fred Astaire
Yeah.
type Hollywood thing, and even with the way he sings, come on, baby, that kind of stuff.
That whole
Was like,
thing.
and so I didn't know if he was going to be in the movie itself or just in those movies they're watching, because the Hollywood movies play a lot because that's kind of how Frank is connected with things, and it kind of plays up some obsession with your idols and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many little societal things that is thrown in this movie in such a weird place. And hearing that there was going to be song and dance number and stuff in here, I'm like, oh no.
I didn't know, so,
But it fits because it goes with the narrative of what he's been watching. Some of it's in their head. Like there's a big moment, and I don't want to spoil it, and you don't necessarily have to say anything necessarily, but that it's a whole song and dance number. But it's kind of hard to tell, is this song and dance number really happening, or is it just they're having it? Because it's interrupted by something else. And then it turns into like, okay, well, why would these people all be doing this if these people showed up? So maybe this wasn't happening. It's very much reminded me of a moment in Sinners.
But it looks so cool.
Yeah.
Though. I was having like are we in the middle of like a music video moment?
Well, to remind me of the scene in Sinners with all the music stuff and stuff. But this one was more dancing.
And the other thing that is really interesting, at one point you see in the trailer they're chasing them and they're like monsters. And Frank is like, I understand, like we are the monsters, and basically she's like, why? Just because we happen to be here.
Yeah.
And she doesn't comprehend. At one point he has to explain to her, because I was dead and now I'm alive, and you were dead and now you're alive. And she's like, well, wasn't everybody? And I was like, dude, she's not talking about physically being dead. She's like, I used to be like nothing.
You're an amoeba, and
now suddenly I'm with you and I have a life and I feel alive. And I was like, dude, you're hitting me with some layers.
Well, see, and I thought the thing with the mob and the torches and stuff.
I'm like, they were the monsters.
Because in the original Frankenstein, he's chased by the mob, and he even makes a statement. He goes, when whatever happens, it leads him to go on the run. He starts saying, we got to go. He goes, mobs come next. I've been through this before.
Yeah.
And so that, okay, all the stuff in the old Frankenstein movie has already happened to him. And then they recreate it in a way that's modern, but it's still the same thing.
Torches. But it also makes you question, like, who's really the monsters? It's not them. They had no real say.
Well, that seems to be an ongoing
alive.
Theme of.
But the humans who treat them this way, we are the monster and the mob and all. You see all this whole mob background and all these mysterious deaths. Those are the real monsters.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to live his life, and she's just now figuring out what life is. I mean, it's just crazy. I
will say I was worried as a fan of Frankenstein and a lot of this stuff. I was concerned, was I going to like Christian Bale's look, how he portrayed the monster? Was it going to get too human? And they did a good job with visually kind of more like he's just disfigured enough to believe that's Frankenstein's monster, even though he does take the name Frankenstein now. Yeah. So the argument in the original movies where you're talking about that's not Frankenstein, that's Frankenstein's monster.
We know.
He has taken on the persona of Frankenstein, so he is in fact Frankenstein. But he's also the monster.
But he has no name, so he just
goes by Frank.
Yeah.
But you can look at him without even knowing what this movie's about, and you can tell, okay, that's a Frankenstein, or he's at least themed after Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And then he still has a look enough that he can walk into a room, and while he might be grotesque to people I could see somebody looking at him thinking he must have been on a war accident.
Yeah, he was
or something.
Some sort of thing.
So it makes it a little more believable. He also covers his face walking around in the time period with plagues and everything else going around. People always were covering their faces and everything else. So it was a little more believable to buy into.
Yeah.
My biggest argument originally from the trailers was, what is this crap on her face? Is it going to stay there? Is it going to be something that we're just seeing in the trailer? Is it going to be some stupid thing? And believe it or not, it's such a simple moment, but it becomes a symbol later in the movie, which I was surprised about.
Yes, it does, which I actually really enjoyed.
They when they had embalmed her or whatever, they don't have blood after you bury you typically, so they're pumping this fluid into her system, essentially to pump to her system. So when she hacks a bunch of it up when she first comes back, it hits her face, and they make the comment to say it appears to have stained your skin.
Like they try to wipe it from her, and she's like, "Good, leave me alone."
Yeah, because it's on her arms where the IVs were.
Yeah, and on her finger. It's like drip because she did one of these things. And so it got all over her hand.
But then there's a thing where kind of like the Bonnie and Clyde hero villain mentality where it inspires people. So people actually are putting that on their face sometimes. And I don't want to spoil that because it's a pretty cool
It's a
moment.
really important moment.
I really like those.
I just have to say, homegirl, Jessie Buckley.
That woman is astounding.
Amazing. Because there are so many things happening with her character, and she's having to go in and out of several.
She essentially is having to flip personalities randomly. Is the easiest way to explain it.
At one point, the one guy's like, "You're possessed," and then she flips, back, and I'm like, and she's doing different accents and different like mannerisms, and it's just like, oh my god! But it's like instant, you know, like she's flipping.
She is.
That's awesome.
If I know we're not talking about that movie, but if you haven't seen Hamnet yet, I just watched it last night. Finally, she is a force to be reckoned with in that movie as well. You think she's good in this movie? She's better in the other movie.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it yet. I just know she won the award, so I was like, okay, she's gonna be good.
I would be surprised if she doesn't win the Oscar for Hamnet.
Yeah,
but she is. This movie works a lot because of them. They're both fantastic in it. And their dialogue, their thing is, but she's manic, and then she's sensitive, and then she's sad, and then she's angry. So it's all over, like she said, it's all over the place, and every one of them works.
But it's because no one will give her straight answers. I think that's the other thing too. And I felt like for that time period and women living in that time period, just trying to ask questions, and people were so dismissive of like, why are you here? Why are you asking questions? Why are you like, you don't belong here?
It had one of my
and it's just like
favorite moments. I think it's in The Heat of the Night. They did the same thing with Sidney Poitier, where when you have a class of people that look down on another class of people, a lot of times they feel more empowered, where they think they can just push you or slap you or do whatever they want. And when somebody rises up to do something back to them, they're shocked.
Yeah.
Right. And in this movie, I believe it's The Heat of the Night, there's an old white man that slaps Sidney Poitier. Right. And immediately Sidney Poitier slaps him back. I mean, without even it's like pop, pop. And he's like, it's that look of like, how dare you, sir? You're not allowed to touch me. There's a moment like this in this movie, and this is before she's the bride, where a guy slaps her. She immediately slaps him back, and the guy looks at her like, you're not allowed to hit me. You're a woman. And it kind of sets the tone of her defiance of what she is in general. Like, you can tell that makes sense when you see her later, that there's that subtle thing in the back of her head that she's not going to just bow down and do everything because they say that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I really like this movie.
I did too. I had no idea what was happening, like what we were going into. At one point, I was just like, okay, what's happening now? And then suddenly we get some song and dance numbers, and I'm over here singing and dancing because that's my time. I love the 30s and 40s and all that music. So we're like, And then I was like, oh, there's what's his name? They're like, oh, that's what's her name, because I have no idea who's in the movie. I purposely try not to know. I want to be surprised still. I like to be surprised at the movies, but it was really good. I was enjoying
it. It'd be interesting to see how it does at the theaters, but it is definitely.
There's such mixed reviews. People aren't getting it.
It's got a lot of great reviews,
some people
but
don't get it.
Definitely the kind of movie that will not resonate with everybody.
So people are really going to be like, what is this crap?
Yeah.
I'm curious about, there's a lady that we know that doesn't really like many things. I wonder if she would watch it.
No. And if she did, she would hate it. I guarantee. I was going to tell her if she brought it up. I didn't see her. I mean, I saw her Friday, but we didn't talk about it. But if she had asked me about it,
she might like it.
I was already planning to tell her, do not go see this. You will not like it.
No,
but she got so angry about Sinners being nominated for anything. We never talked about it.
It's such a great movie.
I know.
Oh well.
But yeah, this is one of those movies. If you whether you like Universal monster stuff or Frankenstein's or any of that stuff or not, it's a good standalone film. It does its own thing, but you have to go into it with kind of an open mind of what this story is and pay attention to what they're telling you.
Yes.
Because it's not a straightforward.
There is a lot of dialogue. It's kind of and in addition to being a musical background.
It's not even a musical,
no, that's the background.
Yeah.
But it's important because all the musicals and things are happening in the background. But they're here, but it's like they're paying attention to that, and I feel like he wants life to be that fairy tale, but he understands how he is. And like you said, the mobs are coming to get us. He's like, I've done this before, even though I wish my life was that, but this is where I'm really at. So he's in a different world. She's trying to figure out what the heck is going on. No one will tell her. So they're both in a weird different spots. So yes, there's that background, but like you said, it's monsters.
I think it leans more into the Bonnie and Clyde aspect than anything,
Clyde.
which was interesting. I didn't expect.
It's an unhealthy Bonnie and Clyde.
Well, Bonnie and Clyde was not that healthy
Is
either.
it like Joker and Harley Quinn?
No, because I think in this case, where Joker and Harley Quinn was an abusive relationship.
Yeah, he's
like
Frank,
she might have been in love with him, but
I think Frank loves her.
Yeah, this was not an abusive relationship. This was him thinking he had right because he had brought her back. He was treated the way Dr. Frankenstein treated him, in my opinion. That Dr. Frankenstein said, you're my creation, you're my monster, because I made you, not that now you're alive, you have your own independent thought.
Yeah.
But he was never abusive to her. If anything, when he had to lash out that first time and almost acted like a monster, he told her to get away from him because he didn't want her to be around that life, because he felt, I'm truly a monster. I don't deserve you, kind of thing. And it wasn't even to her. It was actually in defense of her. So I think that was that bonding moment where she starts realizing,
hey,
there's more here between us, And then I also like they didn't just dive right in and make him an item. It took time.
Oh yeah, no, so that would be awkward.
And even at that point, it was still very dysfunctional when she starts finding out the truth about her past history and how she came back and what she came back for and who she was and some of the lies he kind of inadvertently, I think, told her. I don't think he purposely told her.
I think he was trying to protect her.
Yeah.
But still.
I love this movie.
There's so much happening, so much going on. Give it a chance. I like it.
Yeah, if people keep complaining about one different things.
It's different.
This is a different freaking thing.
It's very different, unique, its own thing.
Anyway.
All right.
The Bride is in theaters now. You should check it out. And if you haven't seen Hamnet, watch it. It's outstanding. And I'm not a big Shakespeare thing, but that movie was so good.
Did you understand the Shakespeare?
I did because spinning into something else, but we won't go to a whole Hamnet review. It's not a Shakespeare story because it's not even per se a true story. It's loosely based on the life of Agnes and William Shakespeare and their life together, kind of told in like, here's what we think might have happened. That led up to him writing Hamlet because they said there was supposedly inspiration of his son Hamnet that died at 11 inspired Hamlet.
Right.
But the majority of the movie is first their love story, then them having their kids, then him going off to London. 99% of the movie is her. It's not Shakespeare himself.
Yeah.
When he's in London, we're not with him. We're there with her and the kids and the bubonic plague and all the different stuff they deal with. And that performance in that movie, you think she weaves in a lot of stuff here. That movie is a mix of happiness and desperation and pain and anger and sadness and chaos, and it's a little bit of everything. But it also feels like Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Complete with like the end of the movie, they almost do damn near a full production of Hamlet.
Oh.
And it's interesting because when she's seeing it, anyway, you have to see them. I don't want to spoil it.
All right, you want to tell me about?
Oh, we tell them about giveaways. I forgot to do all this stuff. We have some digitals and some physical copies. Some of the stuff's fixing to change up a lot because some of this stuff's already been up there for a little while. We got a couple of digital copies of Ella McKay.
It was pretty good.
It wasn't a bad movie. It was all right. We have some Blu-ray copies of Fackham Hall, which is hilarious.
It is ridiculous, dumb.
It's basically like a parody spoof, kind of like a Naked Gun or an Airplane, but dealing with the Bridgerton and whatever all that crap is.
It's so good.
Then we have some 4K copies of Ben-Hur.
Did you like it?
I did. It's a fantastic movie.
You'd never seen it before, right?
I thought I had, but I guess I'd never seen all the way through.
I've seen it, I think, on TV.
It's a fantastic movie. It's the original Ben-Hur, not the remake they did a few years ago. It is a fantastic movie. We got some digital copies of This Thing On, which is also a really good movie. That's a lot of fun. Although it's a little depressing.
It's a little sad, but it's heartfelt.
And then we got some Blu-ray copies of Song Sung Blue, which was a movie I had zero interest in, and that movie is fantastic.
I was excited because I knew all the songs, which is sad. I didn't think I knew that many of the songs.
Well, to my surprise, I think she's the only one that got nominated for that movie.
Really?
Yeah, she's been nominated. I think she was nominated for an Oscar for it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I was surprised he didn't get nominated.
Yeah.
But and then we got some 4K copies of All the President's Men, Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford. If you've never seen that, then yeah.
All right.
And we got some other stuff coming up soon.
And that's it for us. Thank you for watching. We will come back soon.
Hopefully we'll be back sooner than later. We've been very busy doing a bunch of other stuff lately, so we haven't been
We
able
don't
to do
know
shows.
what.
And nobody complained, so why bother coming back?
No, somebody did say I haven't seen your show in a while. They watch it on the Facebook.
You think that's what they said?
Yeah, that's what I think is happening.
Was it because you were giving them something for free? That's why they asked?
No, not at all. I think they just really wanted to see it.
All right.
All right. We'll see you later.
Peace out, kids.